So this is a demo for assignment 6.4, site plan. And so this is the last assignment regarding this office building that we've been working on. So here I have a roof plan for the office building. I have some property lines and I have a setback. And a setback is the distance that a building needs to be located away from the property lines. And so that building is located within this setback along with the parking lot. And I just have a couple of notes and a block right here. And so the first thing I notice is that this drawing is going to be a lot larger than what we've been working on, right? So this is the entire site. And so the scale is 1/16 inches is equal to 1 foot. So to find the scale factor, I need to multiply this 1 foot or 12 inches by 16. So I'll do 12 times 16, and that is 192. So 192 is my scale factor. And if you need help remembering how to figure out the scale factor, go ahead and refer to assignment 6.1. You can refer to the demo video for that. All right, and then we need to open up the architectural template file once again. And we also need to open up assignment 6.2, the roof plan. All right, and did that open up? Oh, I meant to open up the drawing file. Okay, and so now I need to copy this roof plan into my new drawing file. All right, and if I refer back to my assignment, I can see that the roof plan is going to exist here without any of these notes, but I am glad that I bring them in because I'm going to need to use some of these dimension styles, multi-liter styles, etc. Or maybe just the multi-liter styles. And so that way I don't have to recreate them. But I don't need them right here on the roof anymore. Okay. And now I need to change my text size. And so that's going to be, the text size is 3/32 of an inch. And then I need to multiply that by our scale factor, 192. So it's going to be 18. And all this information is in the workbook, by the way. So text size will be 18. Dim scale is 192. I also need to change my line type scale so that way the dashes show up appropriately. I'm going to change that to 5. And I need to change the paper space line type scale settings. So PSLT scale. And I need to change that to 0. And then I need to add and modify a couple of layers. So I'm going to go layer properties. I'm going to add a layer called setback. And I need to load in a couple different line types. So one of them is going to be ACAD ISO 02W100. And I'll say OK. I also want to load while I'm here the ACAD ISO 09W100. And then for the setback, I'm going to go ahead and set it to the 02 W100. And the line weight for this is going to be 0.014. And then I'll do there we go. I need to do a new layer. C prop. I'm going to change this one to the ISO 09 W100 and the line weight to 0.028. And then I'm just going to hover over one that already has the same or similar properties as what I'm about to create. I guess I'll just do this one. No, cancel. I want to do new. And I'm going to call this parking. This is going to be white. And then it's going to be continuous in 0.014 line weight, so that's good. And then I just need to modify this AWOL 2 to a different line type. So this ISO 02 W100. Okay, so now I have all the appropriate layers. If you notice, this went ahead and changed on here because that's on the AWOL 2 layer. And I also need to edit my multi-liters so that way they are displaying the correct scale as well. So I'm going to edit the notes and the slope multi-liters. Those were brought in from my A-roof, or not my A-roof, sorry, my roof plan. So this will be 192. Okay. And I'm going to also change this one to a scale of 192. And the last thing I need to do is change the units. So I'm going to go to UN for units, and I'm going to change this to engineering. The precision is going to be 2 decimal places, inches. I'm going to change that to surveyor's units for the angle type. And then N0D00 apostrophe E is the precision, and then nothing else needs to change. So I'm just going to say OK. All right. And now I'm going to go ahead and start with my property lines. So I'm going to go to the C prop layer. I'll go to polyline, and there's a couple different ways we can get the this angle right here. So this is read as north 3 degrees, 15 minutes west. So if I zoom in here, so there's an N 3 degrees, so north 3 degrees, 15 minutes, which is the apostrophe west. And the length of this line is 115 feet. So you might be wondering, what does that minutes mean, right? So once again here, south 68 degrees, 52 minutes east. And so it's just a way of getting more precise with our angles. So if we have if we have a degree, so you have 1 degree, and if you're going a short distance, if you go over a half a degree or whatever it is, you're not going to see a huge change. But as that distance gets larger, then that degree difference is going to make a big difference. And so you might want to divide it even smaller. So there are 60 minutes in 1 degree. And then that could be divided even smaller if you'd like. It could be, and then you'd have 60 seconds in 1 minute. So let me see if I can find something where I could show you this more descriptively. Okay, so that's just kind of a real quick explanation of what an arc second and arc minute is. All right, so we talked about how that's read as minutes. So just to see if I can talk about this just a little bit more. Okay, so here I have this, I'm just gonna draw some angle here. And I'm on my C prop layer, so you don't have to draw this. This is just for demonstration purposes. Let's just pretend that this is 1 degree. So when you're close in, this is not going to be a very big difference. But as that gets further out, that difference, so this was an airplane going in some trajectory and they are 1 degree off over a long distance, that's going to be huge, right? And so, like over a long distance, that's going to end up being much larger. And so that's why we like to have methods to break this into smaller units. And so that's just kind of how to read what this angle is here. I'm just going to take a picture of this, a screenshot, and put it in my drawing area. Okay. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller with scaling, by scaling it. Okay. All right, so I'm already on the C prop layer, and I can create this line using a couple different methods. I could either use polar coordinates, or I can use the rotate command. So I'll go ahead and do one with polar coordinates, and I'll do the other one with the rotate command. So if I'm starting with this line here, and I want it to go 115 feet north from this start point, so I'm going up 115 feet north, and it needs to be at an angle of 3 degrees and 15 minutes west. The syntax for that would be at the distance, so 115 feet, and then I'm going to do the angle sign, N, 3, D for degrees, then 15 and apostrophe for minutes, and then W for west. So look down here at my command line, and that's what I have before I press enter. Okay, and so now it made that line 115 feet long, and it's going north from this point, and it's going to be, so it's going this way, and then it's going to be 3 degrees and 15 minutes turning west. So it's, instead of going straight up, it's going to turn slightly towards the westward direction. Okay, and then I have another line here. This is just due west 160 feet, so it's not angled at all. So of course west is in this direction. So 100 and, what is it exactly? 160. Feet. And then I'm going to go down 75 feet. So I'm going to go south 75 feet. And then here, I'll go ahead and do this one the other way, so using the rotate command. So I'm going to create the line to the desired length. So it's going to be 110.45 feet. So I'm just going to do 110.45. And let me delete that because I didn't do the foot symbol, so it ended up just being in inches. So 110.45 and then apostrophe 4 feet. Okay, there we go. And so now I'm going to do the command rotate, and I'll choose right here as my base point. And the syntax for this is going to be the degrees. So it's going to be, let's see here, it's going to be 68D and then 52 apostrophe. So it's 68 degrees and 52 minutes. And remember that is, so if I'm this way, that's going to rotate it this way, counterclockwise, because counterclockwise is positive. If I put like a negative before that, then it would rotate the other direction. Right, so I'm rotating this line from this point, 68 degrees and 52 minutes. So I'll press enter, and then that gets me into the position I need it to be. And then I have one more line, and it's 63.5 feet, and that should just connect here. And I can always check it too with my dimension, make sure. That it's 63.5 feet. All right, it's a little bit, seeing it's a little bit smaller, and that's because, okay, I need to bring it over here. Yep, 63 feet and 6 inches. Let me just connect that. There we go. Okay, and so now I have my property lines, and I want to use the donut command for each of these corners. So let me go ahead and take this. I'm going to just join it. Then I'll do donut, D-O-N-U-T. And it says specify inside diameter of the donut. It's going to be 0. And then the outside diameter is 24. And so now I'm just going to put these circles on each of the corners. Oops, I missed. I think I have, yeah, I want to turn this nearest object snap off because it's making me snap to areas I don't want to snap to. There we go. And then I'll just delete this one. Okay, and then I need to create my setback. So I can just take this and then do offset. And I need to be offset by 10 feet. It's going to be, yeah, so it's going to be 10 feet here and then 30 feet in this direction. All right, and so I need to specify the offset distance, 10 feet, and then one of them is going to be 30 feet. So I'm going to start with 10 feet as my offset distance. I'll bring it in, and then I'm just going to grab this line and I'll bring it down an additional 20 feet. And then I need to move this to the setback layer. Okay, and so now I can go ahead and put my building in here. I need to rotate it. And I'm going to grab this piece here. Just going to put it on this line since that's where it's measured from. And then I'm going to say M for move and then P for previous, and then enter. And I'm going to bring this down. So from here, it's 50 feet. So I'm going to bring it down 50 feet. And then actually I'll do M for move, P for previous once again. I'm going to put this on, so I don't want it to move from that orientation. I'm going to put this on this spot. M for move, P for previous. And I'm going to move that over 40 feet. There we go. Okay, and then, so I have my setback. So now I have to create a parking lot, and it needs to have stalls for 10 cars of size 9 by 18 feet. And it has to have one accessible stall and 20 feet, 25 feet, sorry, wide aisle, and it has to have 4 feet wide sidewalks. Okay, so those are the requirements. I'm gonna go ahead and start by just drawing my parking lot. I'm gonna draw it off to the side and then I'll move it over into there. So I'm gonna say at 18 feet and then comma 9 feet, enter. So now I have one stall, and I'm going to make it look similar to what I have up here. So I'm going to copy this, and then I have, let's see, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. And then the aisle has to be 25 feet wide, so I'll do 25 feet. So this is a 25-foot wide or long line. And I'll mirror this about that. And no, I won't erase the source objects. Okay. And I need my loading zone for my accessible stall. And in my, let's see, in my workbook, I have the information for that here. And so I need this to be for a typical accessible parking stall. I need that to be 5 feet. That's what I'm going to do. So I want this to be 5 feet. I already made it 9 feet wide, so I'm just going to stretch it, and I need to shrink that by 4 feet. All right. And then I want to put in some lines. There's no specific angle that these lines need to be at. I'm just going to choose, let's see, 30, 60 seems good. Yeah, I'll just do it like so. And then, let's see, but the stripes, it doesn't have to be at a specific angle, but it does say that they are 36 inches apart. So I'll say 36. And then I could actually do an array. Yeah, let me do an array. So I only need one row. And then my distance between, I want it to be 36 inches. And I'm going to make it non-associative and then close that. So these are all the individual lines. And then I'm just going to quickly look up the handicap symbol sign. Or not the sign, the parking symbol size. So it looks like it's usually 37 inches by 34 inches. So I'll go ahead and just make it to that size. So 34 by 37. And then actually I'm going to go ahead and trim these before I do that. I'm going to make these, I want this one to be curved and this one as well. So I'm just going to do the fillet command. I'll choose a radius of, let's see, 4 feet. Oops, that's not the right one. Do that one more time. Radius 4 feet. And I'm going to choose this saw here. I'm going to repeat that. I'll say multiple. And then I'm going to do that to the one across as well. There we go. And then I'll go ahead and trim the excess. I guess before I do that, let me copy this one over. Okay. Let's see, I could stretch this. And I'll stretch this one. Then I'll do the fillet command again. Repeat it. There we go. And then now I'm going to move my parking lot symbol over. Oh, and keep in mind too, actually, that so just keep in mind that this is how I'm making the parking lot. You don't even have to make it all fancy like this. The requirement is just to have it be, let's see, it's in the workbook. It's just to have it be, it needs to have 10 stalls and one accessible stall. So I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus the one accessible stall. So 11 in total. And then this has to be 20 feet wide, 25 feet wide. And then the sidewalk next to it is going to be 4 feet wide. Okay, so that's the requirements. And I'm just putting these little features here so that way if I want to add like a tree or whatever, trees can go there. All right, and so I'm going to trim right here as well. And all right, and so I'm just going to add the path for the parking lot. I'm just going to make it a little bit extra long and I'll trim it after. And I'll put a little fillet here as well. All right. Let's see, let me join that. And actually first I'm going to take this and I'm going to do the overkill command because I know I have a lot of overlapping lines. Okay. And I'm going to join, actually I don't want to include this one, so let me take that one out. Oh, this is all one piece. I'll explode this. Okay, I'm just going to join these ones together for now. And these ones. And this one as well. And I'll do offset. I'll put like a little 6-inch curve there. Okay. So I'm going to take this and I will offset it out away from the parking stalls. This one too. And this one. And I'll go ahead and add the sidewalk. So I'm going to go over 4 feet. Line it up with the bottom. Okay, and then now I'm going to move this over into, I'm going to make sure it's within my setbacks. Oops. I'm going to do move previous. And I can turn off object snaps if it's trying to snap to a specific spot. I'll turn this off too. There we go. And then I'm just going to turn it back on. I'll trim these here. And I'm going to go ahead and add my sidewalk that goes to the building. So let's see. If I go here, I'll just bring this back like maybe 18 inches. I'll copy this line over 4 feet. Okay, and I'm gonna come here. I'll line it up here. I want to go this direction 4 feet. And let's see. I'll align these. And then 4 feet. Okay, so now I have my parking lot, I have the sidewalk, and I need to add just some areas for the trees. Before I go any further, I'm gonna go ahead and save this. I'm in site plan. All right. And so for the trees, I'm gonna add a point. So if I go up here, I can find, so this was the donut command we used earlier. Right here I have points or multiple points, or I could just simply type the word point. So first I need to modify the style. So I'll do p type, and I'll do a plus sign, and then I'm going to change the point size. I'm going to say set size in absolute units, and I'm going to say 1 foot. I'll say OK. And so now I can do the point command. And I'm going to put this approximately where the ones that are on my assignment are. So that's like right around here. Oh, looks like I need to adjust the size. Let me see. So P type. Oh, that was 1 inches. I meant to do 1 foot, so I'll say 12 inches. Okay, there we go. That looks better. And then I'll do point again. I have another tree somewhere around here. And then one kind of down in this area. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my dimensions and my notes. So I'll go here. And that's looking really small, so I'm going to check one more time to make sure my dim scale. Sometimes it kind of reverts. Yeah, I want that to be 192. That's still looking pretty small. Dim scale, 192. Let me go ahead and go in here and modify it. Okay, that's better. All right, good problem solving. So 20 feet there, and then actually I want this to measure to the property line, so I'm gonna put it there instead. And I'm gonna do another one over here. All right, and then I need to add some text and multi-liters. So I'll say liter. Actually, let me go to annotate so I can know which one I'm on. I want to use the notes. Yeah, I'll use the notes. So multi-liter. And then now I want to turn on nearest. So that way I could just kind of click anywhere on this line. So 30 feet. I'm going to put it on caps lock, front setback. And then 10 feet side and rear setback. Here we go. And I need to add another arrow for that one. And I also need to add in an arrow for my slope. So I could go here to slope. Oops. There we go. And then I need one more here. All right. And then I'll add some text for my notes. I want that to be in stylus BT. So here I have EL 125.5 feet. And where did that go? It's so tiny. Okay, there it is. So I need to adjust my text size. And that also became really small again. So let me change that to 18. If I change, you know what, this is going to stay small because it's just taken on that other property. Yeah, so let me redo that. Okay, so EL 125.5 feet. Then I'm going to move this down. So like right about there looks good. I'm just going to copy this because I'm going to bring it a little bit closer. I need to turn this one off. Okay. I'm going to copy this because I have the other trees. And then I'll just change the elevation height. So 6.0 feet. All right. And I need to add the note here. So trees, typical. And let's see, we also have the elevation for different corners of the property lines. Oops. Oops. And turn on ortho mode so that way it's nice and straight. I have some text there as well. So this should say due west 160.0 feet. So I'm just going to make sure all my text matches what I have. So this should be 120. And 24.0. 125.0. Also 125.0. And 126. I'm going to put Eastman Drive here. And then here, I can say rotation 2 and then 90. So that way it's 90 degrees. And then I could say due south, and then I'll put 75.0 feet. I'll just adjust that. And I can also just do the text, and then I can rotate it after. So I could do south or S 68 degrees. And so to do degrees, it's percent, and then D. And then 52 minutes or apostrophe or minutes east. and then 110.45 feet. Okay, so this needs to be at some angle, so I'm going to say rotate. I'll specify this is my base point, and then I'm going to say reference, and I'm going to say here to here. I want this to be, I'm going to say points, the same as from here to here. There we go. So ortho mode is on. I need to turn that off. See, so now this is the same angle as this line. All right, and this will say due east, 63.5 feet. And then I have one more here. I'll just do the text off to the side again and rotate it. So N, 3 degrees, so percent D, 15 minutes west, and then 115.0 feet. And I'm going to rotate that base point reference. I'm going to say from here to here, so just any straight line along that. And then points, I want it to be the same as from here to right there. Okay, so I'm just going to double check all my notes, make sure I got them all here. All right, and so I'm just missing one thing. I need to have the compass here to show which way is north. I can just put it there. And then I have all this on the dimension layer. I'm okay with that though, because the dimension layer and the text layer, they have the same properties. So they're going to print the same weight. So it's the line weight is 0.014, and then for the text layer, it's also 0.014. And I really only have 2 dimensions, so I don't have to change it if I don't want to, although I can. Okay, so something I missed really quick is I want this to say 50 feet dash 0 inches. So let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and modify that in my dimension style, and I'll mention this in the workbook as well. So I'm going to modify this, and here under primary units, I'm going to uncheck this 0 inches part, and I'll say OK, and then close that. And that's going to get me the 50 feet dash 0 inches and the 40 feet dash 0 inches. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to go here to my viewport, and the scale needs to be 1/16. So first I'm going to find my drawing. I'm just going to double click here. Okay, so I want this to be 1/16 is equal to 1 foot. I'm going to center that nicely and lock it. And then obviously I need to put in all my information here. So site plan, name, date. This is assignment 6.4. And then the scale is 16 inches. Oh, wait, no. 1/16 inch is equal to 1 foot dash 0 inches. And sheet 1 of 1. Okay, so let's preview this. All right, and my lines look good. I can see all the dashes. Parking lot looks good. And yeah, I'm liking that. So I could go ahead and print this. All right, and let's go ahead and see what this looks like. All right, and so that looks pretty good. All right, and so this is how you do the assignment 6.4, the site plan. And of course, this is just a guide. You don't have to create your drawings exactly as I did here. Um, you might have had different methods, and like I mentioned earlier, you don't even have to do the parking lot in the same design, right? You could have done it without these little features. You didn't have to add the curb. Um, and so go ahead and just use this video and all these demo videos as a guide to help aid you when drawing your assignments. Okay, thank you.